Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to address something real quick. I know today a lot of YouTube creators, especially Sean Chandler talks about Mr. Sunday Movies, have set their Instagrams, Facebooks, YouTubes to dark in honor of, I believe it's like a day of silence for the unfortunate incidents over the weekend. My job, though, here, I want to bring joy to your life. The point of these videos is so everyone can escape reality and have some enjoyment and just forget about everything going on in the world. Forget about the riots. Don't forget about the protests. Those protests are important. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But my job here is to make you forget about everything dark in the world. All the coronavirus crap, threats of World War III from 6 months ago now. Forget all about that. The next 10 minutes is for you to relax, listen to the terrible sounding voice of mine, and just learn about a movie maybe you've never watched. I wish I had a different movie for this, because this is one a lot of people have watched. Today we're talking about X-Men 2, X-Men United, or otherwise known as X2. Once again, working out of this Marvel Heroes pack. So that's all I'm going to say about anything related to real life. Just use these next 10 minutes, 10, 15, however long this video is. Just relax, take a deep breath, and just enjoy life. So this movie is directed by Bryan Singer. It's from 2003, an action sci-fi film starring Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I mean, it's pretty much the same cast. Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, Anna Paquin as Rogue, Famke Janssen as Jean Grey, Kelly Hu is a new entry as Lady Deathstrike. Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler is also new, but he'll be a series stay for a while. Halle Berry is back as Storm, James Marsden as Cyclops, Shawn Ashmore as Iceman. Brian Cox is a new intro as William Stryker. I think he comes back in the third film. I haven't watched X-Men 3 in many years. And, of course, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Patrick Stewart as Professor X. It has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, much higher than its predecessor by a little bit. I want to say, tell you right now, maybe not. My cat won't stop knocking down my Ghostbusters Funko. He's being rude to it. I want to say the last film had like maybe a 40 to 60%, somewhere in that range. Half of a budget of $110 million, it made $407.7 million at the box office. I'm just going to say this. I get the hype about the movie. I get the hype for it being well made. And I get the hype that it did change kind of the sequels to all the X-Men movies, sort of, and just superhero movies in general. It's one of those, a lot of people call it the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel, or the X-Men franchise. I'd actually say that maybe Days of Future Past might be that, just because I think it takes everything good about First Class and then ups it more. But that's just my personal opinion. Undeniably, this movie is the best of the original three, but I don't care for these original three films. They're not the ones I find myself watching. I didn't really grow up with these movies. If in my mind, what I grew up with was First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. Not really so much Dark Phoenix. I don't know, I just never cared about Dark Phoenix, so I've only seen it once, and I think I fell asleep during it, so hopefully I don't fall asleep during my second viewing in a few weeks. My only issue with this movie is the wacky CGI, but once again, it's the early 2000s CGI that you're looking at. Could you cut it out, cat? Now he's attacking Mini Jason. Come over here. We'll move Mini Jason over here out of the way. And he's gonna fall. That's fine. I can't say I have any other issues other than that early CGI. It looks goofy at best. There are some weird line reads, however, but it's not nearly as bad as that first movie. There's not as nearly as many as the weird puns and stuff. None of that. The plot's a little better, as Logan, Rogue, and Iceman lead a group of child mutants, aka students, whatever you want to call them, away from Stryker and his military force. You see more of an attempt from law enforcement and the military to arrest these mutants, as they fear what they don't understand. I don't really care for that plot point that much, but it kind of weirdly fits into what we're dealing with in this time period of just fearing things you don't understand, crap like that. I don't care for that plot point. There is the final battle that takes place in like Alaska or Iceland. I think it's Alaska because it's a U.S. military base, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not saying that this is definitely not a bad movie, and if I'm gonna watch any movie out of one of these little packs here, it's probably going to be this one or Daredevil. But this one, most likely out of them all. The acting is really good. Obviously, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart deliver more great performances. That's not to say anyone else is bad, it's just those are standout three. Our action scenes are well acted and well choreographed. Wolverine versus Lady Deathstrike is probably one of my favorite boss battles in a Marvel movie that I've thus far covered. And yes, I have obviously seen the MCU, so there are some, it's like, perfect example. This is nothing compared to that final battle in Endgame. This is nothing compared to, what's a good one? Cap versus Bucky in, Winter Soldier. Obviously. But, hear me out. Out of the X-Men movies, that's probably the best fight. I've mentioned the CG looking funny, and that's due to it still being early on. I think the final reveal of the film being the reveal that Dark Phoenix was the next storyline they were going to cover was great. Too bad the film ruined it. The following film, which I'll look at next Tuesday. This film had some really great setup for future plot lines that obviously kind of got squashed. Obviously, we talked about the Dark Phoenix saga. I thought this movie set up a better idea of the Mutant Registration Act that didn't get well executed in I keep wanting to say Dark Phoenix. It really is Dark Phoenix, but X-Men 3: The Last Stand. I also don't quite get the whole relationship trauma between Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine. It feels like Cyclops went away for whatever reason. I don't even remember that plot point from the first film. So that feels shoehorned in. And then he just randomly shows back up. So then actually, it might have happened in this film. I don't care for the X-Men movies all that much, other than these newer ones, mainly Days of Future Past and First Class. But I'm planning on covering them all. So I gotta do them justice as much as I possibly can. The whole love triangle really bugs me. It doesn't feel natural. And Wolverine he's better without a love interest, as much as a lot of people say he isn't. And honestly, the plot point they went with for Logan, where he's, instead of having a love interest, he's taking care of another mutant like himself, I thought that was better. So instead of falling in love with Jean Grey, he is taking care of X-23. That's actually a good plot point. And it shows that he's a better father than a lover. He goes through a lot of changes throughout these movies. All in all, though, I will say that the movie is not terrible, and it's the best of these original 3 films. If I had to rank them, it'd be Last Stand, X-Men, X2 right at number 1. But obviously, once you start to factor in First Class, Rogue, I almost said Rogue One, Days of Future Past. I have the Rogue cut, so all I saw was Rogue. Apocalypse, and yeah, Dark Phoenix. And if you want, you can throw in the Deadpool movies. You can throw in X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and Logan. Excuse me. You can throw in all that stuff, but out of these main 7, 8 films, this is probably number 3 for me. Days of Future Past will always be my favorite, though. I have quite a bit of nostalgia for that over any of the other ones. So I will give this an 8 out of 10. Tomorrow we'll be covering Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. And last night I released my top 10 movies to watch on Disney+. Those are all movies that are not very mainstream. Yeah, G-Force kind of is, but there's other stuff on there a lot of people I don't ever see anyone talk about. So go check that out if you want to. I've also got, finally getting down to everything I've been saying I'm gonna do. Right here is my list of top 10 Disney movies. I'll eventually do a review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and The Circle, which was another one that was requested. I'm getting there, Ian. I'm getting there. So, until tomorrow, until I eventually do any of that stuff. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, it is tomorrow. Okay. My new schedule is kind of throwing me off. But until tomorrow, I'm Luke, and I will see you guys later. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed what you just watched. If you're interested in more of my videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time I upload a video. And also, if you could, just leave a like down below and maybe even consider commenting, telling me things I did good, things I did bad.